I'm Anita from Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly from My Soulful Home. We have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you. So let's get started.
This is episode 10, where we're going to be talking about paint color. And it may seem like something that we can't discuss without pictures, but it's amazing how much of how you decide what paint color you want is really something that we can discuss without actually seeing the paint colors. So, and also we can talk about we'll have show notes, of course, with all the links to all the paint colors that we talk about. But my first question to Kelly and Yvonne, do you have the same paint color on all of your walls? Are you kind of all the same color on all your walls? Or are you one of those people that likes a different color in each room?
Ooh, good
Well,
question.
yeah. Yvonne, why don't you start off?
Well, I have the same paint color on most of the walls in my house, not in every one. I've veered from the same paint color in a couple of bedrooms, but they're not too far off the mark of what I have in the rest of my house. And I like the way it flows together. And when you find that one perfect color that just defines your home, I'd say you stick with it.
That's
Kelly, how about you?
exactly, yeah, I did the same thing. I mean, what you just said, I found this color that I absolutely love, the Sherwin-Williams Agreeable Gray, and I did my whole house in that one color.
And it's beautiful. It shows up beautifully on the blog.
Oh,
I
thanks.
love agreeable gray. Well, with this house, as maybe some people would remember from another one of our episodes, the outside was all different splotched colors of sunflower yellow. And the
Yes.
inside had some really old paint and lots of dark woodwork, but not really even nice woodwork because from what I understand, the Victorians, if you weren't really wealthy and you didn't have a really nice grade of wood, they were going to paint the wood anyway. So originally, all the woodwork, the staircase and all the trim was a dark green, which the gentleman who owned the house before stripped off. And so then we had this kind of cruddy wood. Some of it was like spliced together on the moldings and whatnot. I couldn't wait to get in here and just pour buckets of white paint over everything. So I love Simple White, right, Benjamin Moore, and it was the color of the year, which was actually a good color of the year. The
Was
year
that
we
this year?
moved
What
in.
year was
I
that
think
color
it
of the
was
year?
15 or 16,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but it's a great color. I used to love linen white, but I found that had a little bit too much of a yellow undertone for me. I wanted it cleaner, but on the warm side. So
Okay.
almost every single room in my house, including the trim and the kitchen cabinets and the exterior of my house, are this simple white. And I love it. And then I pulled in some grays. I love Stonington Gray by Benjamin Moore and Silver Chain by Benjamin Moore. And
Okay,
so
we'll put
I've
those in the
done,
show notes. That's important.
yeah, we'll put them in the show notes and
Good.
the number. So if you wanted to have a different brand created, you could do that too. Um, and so those are the three colors, if you will. It's really gray and white that I have in my house right now. And the word flow was going to be what I said as well, Yvonne. It creates such a flow through the house, and with all of the white, it just makes it so bright, which I love because the house seemed so dark when we moved in. So I may add in some additional colors as we live here, and maybe even some wallpaper, but that's for a different chat. But right now, those are the three colors that I have in the house.
Well, my wall color is called Sonnet, and it's also by Benjamin Moore. And it is a very, very soft off-white, sort of a greige, I would call it, like a
Ooh,
cross between
greige.
a beige and a gray, sort of meeting, but very, very light. And I found that it goes with just about everything I put into my house, and it's a lovely color. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And that's one of the number one questions I get asked on my blog. What
That's
is
what
your
I was
paint
going to
color?
say. I think paint color seems to be the biggest question on everybody's blog. That just seems to be the question of the hour all the time.
And don't you think because finding the perfect paint color is really it's a daunting and difficult task. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is not easy to do, and it does take a lot of work and a lot of experimentation. But when you
True.
get that perfect color, I mean, I just grab onto it.
So do you feel like, do you both have are you happy with the colors in your house right now, or are you hoping to change it soon?
Well, since I really just did all of this, I'm happy as a clam inside my house right now with the colors. One bathroom, the girls' bathroom, it needs something else. It's all white, and the floor is small gray marble tile, and then the white fixtures and all that. I know that room needs something. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be, so that will probably either get a wallpaper treatment or some color in the gray family.
So are you going to go with that
right now,
wallpaper Yvonne told us about? That's the
I know, I'm
movable?
Repositional.
excited about that. I definitely am excited about that because that room gets a lot of use by my gals. So I'm a little worried about putting wallpaper up there. So that kind of removable wallpaper would be awesome.
Yeah, be sure and get that washable, because I know we've had makeup accidents that went all over the curtains. So we had to
One
discuss
wonders,
that. Yeah,
I can
no
put my
makeup in the bedrooms.
on, and I don't get it on the ceiling or the walls. I'm not sure how you even do that.
We had to have the little chat about makeup is for in the bathroom. We don't put it on in the bedroom, because I had to just throw those curtains out, by the way.
Oh,
Curtains, I know,
no.
it's the craziest thing. I mean, really.
I don't know how. Yeah, well, I don't know
Yeah,
what.
that's a
Don't get me
wonder.
started.
Well, you know,
And
our
also,
house
I've
is
gone to, just as a little side note, if anybody has teenage girls in their house too, who love to go to Sephora, I do dark gray or black hand towels.
yes, yes, and also washcloths to take makeup
Yes,
off
I just
with.
kept throwing out the little white towels, so it was just silly. So anyway,
Good point.
off topic, back on. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted to mention we've lived at Stone Gable for 21 years, and we've gone from white to gold to deep tan to white to sonnet. And
I think I can hear the Tuscan phase
Oh,
influence there at one point.
yeah, absolutely.
Buongiorno.
And it's like my
Tuscan
husband.
days.
Yes, that's right. And then my husband does all the painting here, and it's like, oh, again, we're going to do it again. But now when we paint, most of our house is sonnet, and I'm very happy with it. And I've had sonnet in some rooms for about 6 years.
Now, is
Well, I
sonnet more of a taupey gray?
No, it's very light. It's a very, very light
Have to
color.
look- I mean, I know I've seen your walls a zillion times, but now I'm going to look at it
very soft.
specifically looking at sonnet.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it a gray because it leans a little more towards beige, but I mean with these, but a very gray undertone to the beige, but it's just like a whisper of a color.
Oh, that sounds
Nice.
pretty.
It is. It's a really beautiful color, and we'll put
That's
that in
what
the show notes.
That's what I love about the agreeable gray. And I'll tell you, the reason I chose it is because I have all these antiques in my house that have the gilding or the gold leaf on them. And so many of the gray colors are too blue, and they make that gold look brassy.
Oh, yes.
So I actually
Yes.
picked a color that I felt like would go very well with all that gold.
And it does. It's beautiful. It shows off your antiques beautifully. And maybe
Aw,
that's
thank
a key that you've got to find paint that shows off the decor of your home.
Yes.
Most people don't want the paint to be the main thing you see, but it's sort of in the background that you want that to be an accompaniment and to highlight and to enhance what you have in your room.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about it that way. I mean, maybe you want an accent wall for whatever reason, and then you can do your pop of color or whatnot. But yeah, it's almost like a good makeup application, right? So if you do you choose your wall color correctly, it will enhance everything that you have rather than being the star. So, it's almost like doing natural makeup. Like it's harder to do that and get that right, but once you do, it makes everything look better. I think that's a really good point, Yvonne. Nicely put.
Yeah, that is a thought, and that is a great thought, Yvonne. Good segue into my next question, which is, how do you feel about when you use a dark color on the wall, where the color on the wall then becomes the major player in the room.
I
I
love
like dark
it.
colors. In the right spot. I like a dark color in a small room. So maybe,
Yeah.
on a smaller
Yes.
scale.
Yeah.
So in a powder room, you could make, a dark little jewel box out of a powder room, or just make it more interesting. What I did use a darker color in one tiny little area so far, and it's the Kendall charcoal, also by Benjamin Moore. I love that. It's a deep gray. It's very rich looking, and it's kind of like your WC, your little water closet. We transformed a little sort of. It was a nursery, but I mean, the man's son was like 40 something, but it had remained a nursery. And we transformed that little room off the master bedroom into a master bath. And so we changed the closet into where the toilet was. And so it's recessed, but there wasn't room to put a door or anything, but I wanted to differentiate it from the rest of the room. So I painted inside there the Kendall charcoal. And so it
that's a
kind of
cool
just
idea.
seeds
Beautiful.
when you look into the room. And I even painted the wooden shelves that I have towels on in the same color. And it kind of pulls away. And so I think a dark color does that. It kind of, it doesn't, if you put it in a recessed area, it just kind of lets your eye keep going a little bit.
It also makes things very dramatic feeling.
Yes.
That's what I love about it. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to do. We're redoing our master bedroom and sitting area right now, and I'm doing white walls because they're just so beautiful and light. And I'm repainting an 18th century rice carved bed, and I want a light color, but I want there to be a differentiation between the wall color and the bed. But I would love to do it in dark. I just don't know if I could live with it for long.
Oh, I want so bad to do a dark painted blue paneled living room. I mean, not living room, study.
Ooh,
I've
yeah.
just
That
seen
would be perfect.
I've seen
It's a
so many
perfect
that are
room for dark colors.
I've seen so many that are so beautiful, and I just need a client that wants to do that because I don't want to have to do it in my room. But I found this color, Blue Moon, a New Moon by Pratt and Lambert, and I think it would just be perfect in a setting like that. So the other thing, we talked about this the other day a little bit, but what about the pure white walls that almost look like primer that are so hot right now on Instagram?
Well, I like a pure white wall. I mean, I don't know that I'd want it to look like it was just primer, so I would want to have it in a finish.
Well, right. I mean in a finish, but I mean what I'm trying to communicate is the bright white.
Yeah, well, the simple white is pretty bright, and so I'm feeling like maybe that's what I do have, and I love it. I mean, the light just bounces all around. I love how the chandeliers sparkle in it, and the way my house is, it's not. There are no great rooms, so every room is sort of broken up into its own little area. So again, it creates the flow and it keeps the brightness. So I love it.
I actually had a little accident happen that happens when you are talking to contractors and you're in one state and the contractor is in another state.
Oh no.
Accident happens, yes.
Well, it's my fault. I picked out a white paint for the trim for the mountain house that we rent out and a gray for the walls, but I mixed them up. So the white ended up on the wall.
Oh no.
But when I went in there, I just thought, what, I'm fine with it. I like it. So I don't know that I would have picked it, but I'm very happy with it.
Happy
So the
accident.
trim is the gray, and the wall.
Well,
No,
there was
is-
that's another story
the
because
what?
I picked out an oil-based paint because that's what we use here. But the painter, it was just, and it's funny how each painter, demands that you use oil-based paint or demands that you not. And he was just so against using the oil-based paint. I had to buy more paint for him. It's a long story, but usually they tell me they want the oil-based paint, so I can't keep up.
I adore white walls. I just do. I think they're clean, they look fresh, and I love that they bounce the light and they highlight the things that I have in the room. I'm not so wild over just that sort of painter's grade white, but I love that pure white. That was the color of the year. That's really beautiful. And we're redoing our master bathroom and bedroom and sitting room. And the only thing I have to worry about, because we did this in another room, we used white, and we had a big tree right outside the window that the green from the tree reflected on the white walls.
Oh my gosh, you would never even think of
Yeah,
that.
and it gave off a green cast. So you have to be careful what whites you use, because even what you have just outside, like a tree, will reflect off those walls. Like if you have a big red painted garage or something, you might that you can see through a window, it might reflect. So you have to be careful with that. But I think they're fresh and they look lovely. And
And
they're
I think
classic.
this speaks to the point you had made the other day, Yvonne, in a previous podcast about the importance of trying those samples on the wall.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I don't trust paint chips. They're nice to look at, and I don't trust even the larger sheets that you can get that are painted or that replicate the color. I like to use those little pots, those little sample pots, and paint stripes on my walls about 6 inches wide, going horizontally, labeling them with the pencils, and doing them on all my walls, and then looking at them in different times of a day. And I just write right on the wall what my reaction is, and you'll have a better paint result if you do that. It's really important not to just go ahead and buy paint and put it up on the walls, because you're probably not going to love it.
Yeah, just be sure and listen to that disaster or
Our
big-
blunders.
our big blunders. That's right. At that episode, I think that was number 4.
Yeah.
That it was.
Kelly, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I'm talking about the white. I just had a little tip for everybody. There is a product out there that's absolutely fantastic, and I know we all agree on it. It's called My Paint Saint, and for any
We
paint
love
color,
it.
but particularly white, because you see the scuffs and the marks, and particularly if you have kids, you're going to want to get this painting solution. It's an all-in-one canister, and the brush is melded into the top. So you never have to clean the brush. You pour in your excess paint. You can label it on the back. You screw on the airtight gasket, which is kind of like a mason jar top, and you are good to go. So somebody bangs their backpack into the wall or decides they're going to fling their eyeshadow across the room or whatever happens in your particular circumstance, and then you can just get out the canister that's marked with simple white or sonnet or agreeable gray and have at it. The paint doesn't oxidize because it's airtight, so it's always going to be the same. And not cleaning the brush makes touch-up so easy. So you can find My Paint Saint on Amazon. Just search My Paint Saint, and it usually comes right up. And they sell it in different either singles, or you can get a few. My suggestion is probably get 3, so you have one for your colors and one for your trim. But it's hands down the best home maintenance product I have seen in a long time.
I agree with you. It is. I have several, and it's so much easier than trying to scrub marks off of a wall. You just whip it out, touch it up, and you're good to go. It is a wonderful product. I highly recommend it, and we'll also put that on the show notes.
Yes, definitely. I've used it quite a bit myself. So, as we've said, we do have little accidents around here. So
Some little, some big.
yeah, a little bit of both. So
Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about. Visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
I think another thing that we should talk about are colors, warm colors versus cool colors. I think most people that are really interested and into interior decorating know the difference, but I think we should just explain it in case somebody doesn't know. So, Yvonne, what's the difference?
Yeah. Well, every color that you can think of, let's take the color, well, let's just take white even. It has a warm side and a cool side to it. Pure white, I guess they're saying it's really not cold or warm, but you think of white as cool anyway. But if colors have a little bit of yellow, red, or orange in it, they're warm colors. Like we have a color that all of our trim in our house is painted in called atrium white, and it's Benjamin Moore. And if you look at it next to pure white, it has the tiniest, and I mean tiniest, pink cast to it. And it is warm. It's a warm white, and warm whites any warm colors makes a room feel cozy, and it makes it feel like sunlight and heat. It gives you a warm feeling, and warm colors are made to sort of pop. So you can take any color, and it has a warm side to it. And then the opposite of that is you can take any color again, and it has a cool side, and colors are added, blues and greens, and maybe some light purples are even added to that, and it makes the color look cooler. And cooler colors are more calming colors generally, and they recede more than pop. They sort of recede into the background, and it's really, really important, especially if you go to a reputable paint store, that they'll tell you, oh, this is warm, this has some browns in it or oranges in it, or this is cool because it has a little bit of green in it. And it's very important to know that, because when you put that on your walls, sometimes you can really see the color beneath it.
Great tip there. And let's see, Kelly, do you want to talk about the different finishes of paint?
Oh yeah, so you generally you've got your flat, your satin, your semi-gloss, gloss, and then there's oil paint. Now, oil paint is prohibited here in California, so you can't really get it, and most painters
Really?
wouldn't
See,
use
I didn't
it.
know that.
Yeah, because it's the
Are you saying foil, FOIL?
Oil.
Oh, oil. Okay.
Alkyls. I think they call it alkyls. So yeah.
Oh, yes. You can't get that in California, Kelly.
No. I think it started as far back as the talk about getting rid of it was 2005-ish. I wasn't living here then, but I think around 2010 it was prohibited, and it's because of the gases that it gives off and recycling it and all of
my.
that. So
It is hard to deal with.
Yeah, and you'll see paints like low VOC and all of that. Well, apparently oil has a lot of
Yes.
the bad gases.
Well, and it's hard to
coming
clean
off
off.
it. Not
I
to
mean,
say that, if you had it in
yeah.
small quantities in your home that anything bad was going to necessarily happen to you. But in California, we are extremely green here, and so I think it has a lot to do with the recycling as well. Like, what do you do with all those cans or half-used cans of oil paint? So anyway, people can still get that. I thought it was sort of countrywide, but I guess it isn't.
Oh no.
So
No,
flat
Texas, we
paint-
do everything differently here.
Yes, well, you're your own little nation there, so you
Yes,
can have
well.
your oil paint and your guns and your big hair and just knock themselves out.
I love it. I love it.
But flat paint is traditionally thought to be one that goes on the walls. Flat paint, although, is kind of hard to clean, so you're definitely going to want a My Paint Saint if you like the finish
absolutely.
of flat
Yeah,
paint, because
maybe-
it's
or
even
satin.
harder to clean it.
Yeah, or satin on the
Right.
wall, right?
Well, I'm starting with the first one.
Oh,
so flat,
good. Okay.
would be a little bit harder to clean. Satin, or sometimes it's known in certain paint companies as a velvet finish. So it has a little something. It's really
So is
not
velvet the
sheen.
same as satin?
I think it's the same. When
Okay.
I see them next to each other, or it. I've heard that term bandied around. I think most of the bigger companies don't use velvet, but if you hear that, I think it's very much akin to a satin finish. So it has a little something. It's a little easier to clean, and you would be well in your rights and to use that on all your walls and all your rooms. It's not gonna look shiny. And then of course there's the semi-gloss, which has a shine to it and is easier to wipe down. And then the gloss, which there's also could be high gloss, which I think is more similar to an oil type of finish.
Okay, so what do you both put on your woodwork?
I've used a gloss and a semi-gloss, depending on how I wanted it to pop.
That's exactly what we use. Our banister, though, we used a high gloss. We went from a golden oak banister. We really repainted that whole thing in white risers, and we used primed it and then used a high gloss on it. And it really, really is sharp.
Oh, nice. Well, I actually went a different direction, and our walls are flat, and I went with a satin on all the woodwork. And
Ooh.
Ooh, that
I like
sounds
it a
pretty.
lot. I mean, it doesn't, like you said, I mean, it's not going to wipe up quite as well, but, with the exception of maybe a few areas in the house, they stay pretty clean. So,
While we're talking about woodwork, what color do you paint your woodwork? Do you have a color that you prefer?
well, I like something like the Natural Choice, which is a Sherwin-Williams color. I mean, that's on the exterior of my house. I think it's
No, I mean
alabaster.
like the baseboards and things like that.
Yeah,
in
I
your
think
home.
I did alabaster.
Which is a white.
Yes. Oh, yes, it's definitely. Well, it's white, right? But I did a gray on my doors, a dark
Okay.
gray.
Oh, okay. That sounds beautiful. How about you, Kelly? What do you use for your baseboards and all of your millwork and things in your home?
I love white trim, and I love
Me
it
too.
to be crisp and have the gloss or the semi-gloss finish on it. I just think that sets off. It's almost like framing the room, and it sets off if you are doing a color on the wall. It also, if you're doing the same white on the walls, it differentiates it because you've got a little shine on the woodwork, and so it just makes that pop a little bit. I have a lot of ornate woodwork in the house, and a tin ceiling that had been painted silver at some point, and so we painted it also in the simple white, and it is really beautiful in the semi-gloss.
I'm with you, girls. I think there is nothing prettier than white woodwork, especially if you have beautiful woodwork.
Yes. No, I
And
agree
I
with
think
that.
and leaving it in the stained or something I know we're talking about paint today, but that's also a great choice if the quality of the wood is really beautiful, or if your home has sort of calls out for that woodsy sort of look. My house really needed to be freshened up with the white paint, so we did a lot of. I know some people would be like, oh my gosh, you painted all the wood, but if I showed you the wood and how the risers were different pieces of wood over the years and different kinds of wood, and it just would not have, even if I stripped all the stain, which was really orangey, if I had taken the time to strip all that off and then stained it, even a darker brown or something, none of the woods would have matched. The grains were
Oh,
all
that's a
different.
good point.
Sure.
Yeah, you have to paint then. So, we've Yvonne and I have both had the Pepto-Bismol wall disaster. So I was just curious, would you ever attempt a pink wall again? Or is that would you just too nervous about it?
Well, I don't really have a wall in my home that I should paint pink. 'Cause I
Should paint pink.
But what if you get a little girl grandbaby?
Oh, well, then
I'm
you have to do paint.
Yeah, well, I'm
Hello?
not going to do a nursery. I'm going to make it a little more generic because kids grow up so fast.
That is true.
Yeah, so I would not paint a room pink, but let's say I had my daughter's room was pink at one time and we loved it, but as I don't have any small children in the house right now. No, I don't. There's no need to paint any wall pink in my house.
So
I've had enough of it.
yeah. We avoided the pink because I told my daughter when we built this house, she wanted pink on the walls, and I said, you can do the whole room pink, but I don't want pink on the walls because in a couple years you're not going to like it. And she said, Mom, I'm so glad you didn't let me paint the walls pink because now I don't want it on the walls. So that was
And
good.
I'm a pink lover. I love pink, but I just think it would be hard to live with for a long time.
Well, I think I like the pink better in accessories rather than on the walls.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So do you all have any feel for what you think the next hot wall color is going to be?
Oh,
Well, I
Kelly,
had
you can
read-
answer this. I know how much you love Pantone's colors.
That's true.
Well, I had actually read when we were talking about the trends that a deep forest green is coming back in.
Well, my
Like
mother's
a
will
la
be all in
Ralph
style.
Lauren.
Yeah, my
Well, I
mom's had the
don't-
dark green for a while, so she'll be all set.
Oh, she's
Yeah, on
in then. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from, industry people. But as we spoke about in that episode, you just never know where those trends are going to end up, whether it's just, going to be relegated to, an article early on in
Right.
2017 and it never really sees the light of day, or whether people are going to pick it up and run with it.
True.
I think the gray is here to stay for a long time.
I do too. Oh, Yvonne said, uh-huh.
Well, but I mean, it's here for a long time. Eventually, it will stay. It just won't be the hot color in 10 years, but it will be a color that will be around. I also think white will be around, and I'm just going to go out on a limb. And I think we're seeing. I think blue is making a big comeback.
Oh, definitely. Blue is hot, hot, hot right now.
It is. It's really hot right now. So
I'm just not a blue girl. I have
Really?
never been a
Oh,
blue
I love
girl.
it.
No. If I was a red, I've always been a red girl. I have red hair, but maybe that's part of it. But I've always been a red girl if I had an accent color. I'm sure I know I had a red dining room. Actually, it was like persimmon at one point. But
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
in a good way. I think that's a beautiful color.
It was beautiful. It really was pretty. But that's kind of when I sidestepped the Tuscan phase. But I did have.
You were close. You were close.
I was getting close.
I
Right?
feel like we had these pixie haircuts, and you had like your Farrah Fawcett thing going on with us with our Tuscan thing going on
I think that we
with
might
crooked
see.
bangs.
Oh my gosh. I had crooked bangs the whole time growing up. My mom always wanted to cut my bangs, and I'd think I'd take off running, and she'd still try. And I was
Me too.
I think we're going to see blue, though, come on the walls, not just for accessories. Now, that's just a guess. That's just looking at the industry and seeing what's going on. I think white and gray are going to stay. I think they're big, but I think eventually, like everything, they won't be the big new thing, but you'll still see them. But I think that a soft blue would be my guess. Yeah, a soft blue to I want to say an ikat blue, that real pretty. That's a little more intense, but I think that we might see that as well.
I agree with that we're going to be seeing some blues, I think, for wall colors.
So if somebody wants to paint, a room, do we have some tips for them? We know we're going to try out painting samples actually on the wall and label them and watch them in the different lights. Anita, do you have another thought about that?
Well, I think to do your research on Pinterest, on blogs, on Instagram, find those colors that you like, and see if you can find out the color from the blogger or Instagrammer. But there's an app that you can use as well. I have a couple of, I don't know if they're apps or if it's just websites, and I'll have the links in the show notes. But there's a website called Snap It, which is associated with Sherwin-Williams, and if
Yes,
you're looking
yes.
at a room, you can use that app or extension. I'm not really sure how it works, and it will tell you the colors, the corresponding Sherwin-Williams colors for what the image that you're seeing. But with the caveat, keep in mind that each monitor has a little bit different color calibration, so it might not be exactly
Good thought.
what you think it is. So be sure and use those samples, the
Oh,
sample
right. It'll
paints.
get you sort of close in the category, but maybe not necessarily spot on. Is that what you're saying?
Right, maybe in the same zip code, but it might not be exactly the right
well put.
address. So, and then the other thing I wanted to share, because I used this when we built our house, or it was something similar. The HGTV and Sherwin-Williams have something called a color visualizer, and you upload a picture of your house, and our house was still being built, so I uploaded a picture of a house that was similar to the style of our house, and then I tried out a paint color on the house, and I was able to visualize it, and that's really how I
What
selected.
a huge help that is.
It was
I
huge.
played around with that too.
Yes.
That's kind of fun. Yeah, it's really fun to do that. I love the point that you made, Anita, and that might be overlooked because people, I find too, readers on my blog are so interested in paint colors. So I think a lot of people out there are, and they struggle with it, and they don't want to hire a colorist or someone to, they think, I should be able to do this myself, but it is really hard to pick a color. So I think the
It
tips
is.
for giving today are great, and I want to again emphasize the one that you brought up is taking into account everything that's in the room. Don't just put your blinders on and think about, I need to pick a wall color. Think about everything that's going to be in that room, because as you said, maybe the tone that you're going to pick is, once it's on the wall, it's going to clash with something that's in the furniture, or the sofa that you can't replace right now may not go with gray, even though, gosh, you really want gray. So you've really got to think about it. Maybe you should pick a different color that's a little bit more complementary to what's going to be in the room.
That's a very good point.
Think of it as a whole, not just think about the wall.
That's a very good point. And if I could have one paint wish in the whole world, I would love to have a product that I could put on my floors, and maybe it does exist. I have such a yen to paint all of my flooring, all of my hardwood floors white.
Oh, me too.
Wait, you just did all
Me
your
too.
floors, didn't you? I mean,
Well, at the farm. I want to do it at the farm because my dog has destroyed those pine floors.
Well, and I'll tell you, and Anita, you were there with me. We were in Nashville visiting Amy Howard from
Yes.
Amy Howard Paints, and she is got to be one of the most delightful, talented, gracious
Absolutely.
people on the face of the earth. And if you don't know her chalk paint, it's One Step Paint, and you can find it at Ace Hardware. That's
Chalk-based
just
paint.
Yes, a free plug. But her floors were white, and we went in, and oh.
It was amazing.
I've never been so enamored by a house in my whole life.
Yeah, I could have packed up her
these-
whole house and taken
Oh.
it home with me.
Seriously,
so you were
but
in
the
not only
floors.
her studio, you guys got to go into her house?
Yes.
And it was beautiful. It was absolutely
Hey, Amy,
beautiful.
I want to visit you too.
Well, you would just love
I
her
think
as
my invitation got lost in the mail.
I
you
think
would
it
just
did,
love
too.
her as a person. She
Yes,
is
she's
just one of the
delightful.
most
Well, I
spectacular
love her on
people I've ever met.
Instagram. We kind of every once in a while exchange a little like and
Oh,
thumbs
I
up
know.
thingy.
But her
yeah.
floors, these wide plank, gorgeous white painted floors, they were sort of not a high gloss, but they had some sheen to it. And she had these beautiful rugs over it. And I'm thinking, oh, now our floors are called Gunstock Oak, but they're really like a chestnut color. And in my blog, they come up pretty orange, which I'm not happy about. We're not going to sand and redo my whole house, but oh my goodness, would I paint them.
Okay,
I
but
would-
then how do you keep that clean? I have been in people's homes. One woman in right here in town who she just has a stunning home, and she's a decorator, and she has great taste. And she has 4 or 5 kids and 7 animals and whatnot. And honestly, her home is beautiful, but her white floor doesn't look good, and
Okay,
that would
well,
drive me nuts.
Well, what about this? I mean, I think you could do an in-between where you do a white wash so that you can see the grain through it, and that's probably what I would have to do because of all of our collie, doggy, scratches. And then you're not going to notice the scratches. But the
That's a
solid
good
white would be a
point.
problem in my house. And plus, it's at the farm. I mean, we're coming in with,
That's true.
muddy boots.
But for me, oh my goodness, it would be worth me just walking around all day with some kind of a mop. Because that's how much I love them. I come to the door with my mop in hand and just sweep after you.
Swiffer shoes, put the Swiffer slippers on everyone.
Well, let me tell you, Amy said it's not hard, and she had how many? Were there like almost like 20 some of us in there for this? We had a big sort of dinner party, that kind of thing.
Soiree.
Yeah,
You're making
soiree.
me feel really bad.
I know. Stop.
But her floors, we asked her that, and she said they're not hard to clean at all. So, girls, we'll just take our own trip and just show up at her doorsteps.
Yeah. No, she'll welcome us. She was so
Yeah,
sweet.
she's,
And
oh my goodness.
I wanted to piggyback on what Kelly was saying when she said take the whole room into consideration when you're picking out your paint color. I think that is something that we really didn't call out, but I think we're all thinking is pick out your paint color last. Because there's a million paint choices, but there's only going to be so many fabric choices. The chairs or
That's right.
couches or sofas that you want. They're only going to come in so many options as far as fabric.
And
plus,
Anita, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
no, I just think you need to take it all into account and do that last.
That's such a good idea, and I bet people don't do that. I'm trying to think whether or not I did that, but I was changing a lot of things out. But that's a brilliant point, Anita, because those things could be fixed in the universe. Like you can't replace your couch, or if you got rid of that table, your mother would be upset. So you're going to keep these things either for budgetary reasons or because you love them. And so those things are fixed in your universe, and the paint color can really be whatever. There's so many choices, or you could even do, dare I say, a custom mix.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, the
and
custom mix, I think you can do that, but you do have to be careful later on. If you order more paint, it's a little more dicey about matching it.
Yeah.
Is that right? Oh, even if you have the formula.
Well, I guess maybe it's the same, but it's just, it's
But there's still
there's
going to
be some variation.
that in there.
If you wanted exactly the same, I mean, my dad used to be a paint inspector, and he would have us mixing one can of paint with the other in case there were slight variations, paint can to paint
Oh
can.
my. Oh,
Wow.
actually that's a good idea. Messy, but good.
Yeah, well,
Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health: potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT.
Okay, we're cruising along. We could talk about paint for like another week or so here, but I wanted to make one more point. Is if you love a color, but it's a little too much, do you know that you can just bring it down by having your paint store mix in maybe 25% white, 50% white, and just bring it down? I've done that sometimes, to create the flow. If I wanted, and when I had more color in my former house, maybe I did the dining room, sort of a brighter color, more intense. And then you might bring it down, that same color down 50% or so, and then you could do it in another area. So you're still getting all the same tones, but it's it on a scale.
Great idea.
And I think that works really nicely.
I think we have time for just one more thing. I did a little research on Zillow, and I have a quiz for you two.
I'm not prepared for a quiz.
Okay, is this like the ones you'd find in like 17 magazine?
I don't know.
When we used to read them, decades ago.
Oh yeah, you had to take that.
I did not see the word boy crazy in any of this.
Or boyfriend, how to pick your perfect boyfriend,
How to pick the perfect paint color and your boyfriend.
So this is about, and I'll include the link. They did a little, Zillow has all of this data on house sales and the colors in the house. And so they found that a particular kitchen color, when the kitchen was this color, the house sold for $1,360 more as compared to other homes that did not have this paint color in the kitchen.
Wow.
So
Okay.
do you want to guess?
White.
Okay.
Are you
said
asking
white.
us?
Like white
I'm
cabinets?
asking you now. I
White.
don't know. It just says probably wall. Did you both say white?
Yes.
Okay, the answer is yellow.
Stop it.
Oh!
And I do have to say, because I did teach statistics, that this does not prove causality. It does not prove cause and effect. So it doesn't mean if you paint your kitchen yellow, that you're going to be able to sell it for more. This is just what they found with the data.
Well, yellow is cheery, I guess. It's cheery.
It is.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I think sometimes in the kitchen it can look a little dated.
I'm thinking yellow seems dated. It seems very 70s to me.
Yeah.
But what do I know? Okay, what
You know
about
a
the
lot.
bedroom? What do you think
You
was
know
the
more
top?
than Zillow. Okay, bedroom.
Was the top color for a bedroom?
Blue.
Blue.
Light green and khaki.
Oh, we're doing
Ew,
terrible.
No, really?
Anita,
What?
I have such a paint pet peeve, I've got to tell you. And this is just personal, don't to me, but don't take it personally.
Uh-oh.
I do not like green on walls.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. I'm just reporting what Zillow said.
Just reporting.
Okay, so the living room. What made those houses sell for $1,104 more? What color?
Blue, khaki, tan, yellow.
A yellow accent wall with khaki trim.
It was gray.
Oh, well,
Finally.
there we
Oh.
go.
I know,
Right,
finally
makes
something that makes sense, right? Yeah. These don't make sense to me, but that's why I thought it would be fun to do.
That one does. That one does.
These others I would have never
Gray.
guessed. Okay, the last one is the bathroom. See if y'all can get this one right.
White.
Blue.
Oatmeal or beige?
Oatmeal? In the bathroom?
Wow.
That's
wow. Oh, that's just wrong.
My real estate agent is right.
keep
Zillow
picturing-
is not something you should pay attention to. I'm sorry.
I'm just picturing Yvonne's bowl of oatmeal now with the hand towel next to it.
Oh, my
on
goodness.
the bathroom counter.
Oh my
as an
goodness
accent
gracious.
piece.
Well, we could go on and on talking about paint because it's such an important topic, but we are way out of time, girls. So I just want to say, remember to our readers, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. So until next time.
Hey there, if you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy and it would mean so much to us. And if you do rate and review us, we're going to enter you to win a fantastic giveaway. The details for the giveaway are in the show notes for this episode, and you can find the show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com.